Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Motor City Mad Mouth and Marvin on the Mic show. Glad to have you with us today. We've got a pretty interesting show. We're going to be all over the map, Marvin. You ready for a wild, wild ride on Wild Wednesday?
Let's do it, Coach. Let's do it.
All right, we got to do it. My player. All right. Well, first of all, on a somber note, though, I do want to send my deepest condolences to the Lolich family. Mickey Lolich, the legendary Detroit Tigers pitcher who won 3 games in the 1968 World Series, passed away today at the age of 85. Because of Tom Gage, I had a chance to meet my childhood idol and actually had him on a show, the Sports Exchange, and Mickey autographed a few books for me, and we exchanged stories. And he's a childhood idol. Anytime you run across a childhood idol, it's unbelievable. And on my Facebook page, Mickey and I are next to each other, so that's been there forever, and it'll be there forever. So rest in peace, Mickey, and thanks to Tom Gage, who helped set it all up to meet my childhood idol, have him on the air, and do a lot of other stuff, Marvin. So I just wanted to begin the show off on that note. So unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry for the loss.
So, yeah, thank you. All right, well, let's have a little bit of fun with this one because this is really something we can really laugh at. Once upon a time last July, there were rumors going around, okay? The Ben Simmons sweepstakes people. Ben Simmons sweepstakes for this guy are heating up. LOL. Laugh out loud, I guess that means, right? Kings, Knicks, Suns, and Celtics have all been in contact with them. How laughable was this, Marvin? That one of the biggest busts in NBA history, there was a sweepstakes for this guy.
Yeah, he's different than a bust in so many ways because for him, it wasn't like he went out there and was just trying and got outmatched and couldn't do it and it didn't work out. This, unfortunately, is one of the rare occurrences where the guy, got his money and really shut it down. His own agent came out and basically called him lazy in so many words. And I think that the narrative around Ben Simmons his whole career has just been he's a me guy, not a team guy, not a high effort guy, very talented young man, a very talented player. But in the NBA, It's just it never really happened for him. And a lot of people think it was more of his attitude, a little more of his sense of entitlement, just immaturity, and it's hard to see a guy like that go out there, not want to shoot the ball, not put the ball up, not attempt to score, not at all attempt to be aggressive for his team. I mean, it was tough, man. And he gives, again, he's one of the rare guys that you see do this. You don't see it this bad, at least I'll say, but he's a guy who really acts like he has no interest, and basketball, was the problem in his life. I mean, that's kind of what he's preaching. I've heard him preach a little bit. So, it's just an odd situation and an unfortunate situation for those who really, in Philadelphia, people who really believe in this guy, but with that said, when you're his size and you are talented in a league that is trying to acquire as much talent as possible, teams, in very competitive situation, a lot of parity out there, you're hoping you can get a guy like that and turn him around. And I guess that creates a market, but again, this is, he's really a sad story, to be honest with you. And it falls more to his lack of effort and attitude than anything else.
I think the thing that has to be understood in this situation is this. Next collective bargaining agreement comes out. Somehow, some way, you've got to take the Ben Simmons situation and find ways to incorporate this sort of behavior in, and otherwise make it avoidable in some ways. And this is the thing that I think that has to be done. So you fool me once, it's one thing, but when you see it happen again like this, it's called safeguards or guardrails or whatever we want to call it. And, I can laugh all I want, but I don't think it is funny. But to think there'd be a sweepstakes of all people, this guy, give me a break. There's a lot of talented players. He's costing a roster spot for a lot of guys, and all he's doing is taking the money and run, and it becomes a spectacle in the circus. People like I am talking about it, but we're blue-collar people, too. That's a different story. You want people that are that's okay to get your money, but you kind of have to earn it, okay? And we'll go from there. Well, I'll tell you, we talked about this before. We're going to mention it from time to time. Florida set a modern day record in 2023 by actually carrying out 19 executions. And Governor Ron DeSantis just signed a death warrant for an inmate convicted in the 1989 murder of a man in Alachua County. I'm telling you, Marvin, Ron DeSantis isn't messing around. He's probably looking at the nature of these executions on death row, and he's going to wipe them out. And I don't blame the governor for going there.
Listen, I don't agree with many things regarding Governor DeSantis, but for those who've committed crimes toward children, to those who've committed crimes toward women, to those who've committed certain type of violent crimes, and in any type of sexual assault where it's obvious and proven, and there's no question, I believe we don't need those people. We don't need those people. You can't fix those people. I think there are certain crimes that, are just hard to forgive and forget. And, I myself was the victim of violent assault when I was young. So again, people out there who are committing crimes toward children and sexual assaults and just the worst type of violent crimes, especially toward those who are defenseless, I have no love. I have a no mercy mentality toward them. I see Ron DeSantis feels the same way. And this is one of the few things that him and I align on. So I'm hoping that for the men who were executed, that it was a situation where it is obvious by evidence that these men committed these crimes. What we don't need is getting that situation wrong. But in certain situations where there's enough evidence, to hell with them.
The people he's putting down, obviously, judging by, I don't bring up every one of these things. I'll look at isolated situations before I bring them on this show. But Ron DeSantis is looking at death row right now. That's what he's doing. And I'm going to make sure that as I judge them by the way, they need to get OUT as an out. That's why they're being brought up. And I'll continue to mention them as they make more and more sense, because I want to see Florida's death row get cleaned out. I want people to realize the justice system can work for them. And do I believe in the death penalty? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. And I'm not afraid that if you take somebody's person's life, it's premeditated, whatever it is, I think you're entitled to lose yours as well. We're all allowed to agree and disagree, but I'm glad I live in a state that carries it out. All right, well, let's go from Ron DeSantis to Josh Allen, who actually won his first playoff road game in his NFL career, but in the end, he's home for the Super Bowl, and now offensive coordinator Joe Brady was hired to replace Sean McDermott. What are your thoughts about Josh Allen not getting the Super Bowl and then adding Joe Brady to the equation?
Listen, this was the year to do it. This was an AFC that had a playoff that did not include Lamar Jackson, did not include Joe Burrow, did not include Pat Mahomes. And, if there was a year to take advantage of that, it was this year. And Josh started off on the right foot. They got a win in that first round on the road, something they hadn't done in, I want to say, almost a decade. So that was a big deal. It was a huge deal for the organization to get over that hump. But for a guy coming off the MVP, the reigning MVP, a guy who had a good year this year, I mean, it's definitely I would say they underperformed, and you saw the head coach get fired for it. Josh Allen's considered to be one of the elite quarterbacks in this league. So you got to take advantage of those opportunities. And, listen, there have been a lot of analysts who've been really critical of Lamar Jackson, for not getting to a certain point. Now we are start looking at Josh Allen kind of the same way. He's phenomenal. I mean, he's absolutely one of the best. I love watching this guy play, right? But is he really that guy that can he really get his team over that hump? Listen, don't forget the great John Elway. This guy, for as great as he was, he didn't get to his first Super Bowl until year 15. So with Josh, is it a situation where we have to be patient? Is it a situation where maybe he's not the guy? We don't know. Time will tell. In regards to Brady, this is Joe Brady. This is a guy that they have history. They have a relationship. They've been together, so it makes sense. I get that, but yeah, for Josh Allen to really be considered one of the true elite, he's going to have to get his name. He's going to have to get his team to the Super Bowl. he's going to have an opportunity to play for that championship, because that's how we judge you in this league. You know, that's what you're judged on. The MVPs matter; they definitely do. He's definitely, you know, he passed the eye test for everybody, but getting to the big dance and winning it is everything. And he's yet to do that. And he's had teams. He got paid. He has players. He has offensive weapons. You know, the elite quarterbacks in that conference aren't there. This was a bad year. So let's see him come back with something better next year.
Sean McDermott will land another head coaching job. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
He needs a year off anyways. I think in Joe Brady, obviously being the offensive mind that he is, it'd be interesting to have a new voice of Josh Allen. But now I think it's really all on Josh Allen. But I'll tell you one thing. The pressure's on the general manager, I think, with Brandon Beane, who needs to start surrounding this guy with a few horses. Now that you let the coach go, at some point or another, when does the general manager become more accountable? And then I think a lot of people will be looking at that going forward. All right, our featured topic of the day is this, okay? We're talking about the Cleveland Browns coaching search. Nobody wanted the job except maybe Jim Schwartz, okay? And they didn't even hire him. So, but guess what? Super Bowl winning coach Mike Martz threw his hat in the ring for the Browns coaching job. He wanted to bring the greatest show on turf, and he wanted to take it to Cleveland. My goodness, I wonder how Mike Martz would have done in Cleveland.
Listen, let me tell you this much. In 1999, this is the St. Louis Rams Super Bowl year. I was a rookie for the New Orleans Saints. I was with New Orleans. We played them twice, all right? So I've seen that thing up close, and it is the real deal. Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, and that trio of receivers were amazing. Now, Martz was the mastermind. He was the guy. I would bet you he's been involved, even if it's just him, in his basement, in his chalkboard, or breaking down film. I would bet you he's been involved, and his offense has evolved. But it's been a while. It's been a while. You have a lot of young coaches out there looking for these opportunities. We just went through a cycle of hiring 9 new coaches and not one African-American coach, which I think is just odd. But with Mike Martz, listen, people look at that as a horrible job. Players, coaches, this isn't a dream destination. And this is a guy he's a Hall of Fame caliber coach. He's won a championship. He's been dominant in the NFL. He wasn't just good; they were dominant. I mean, his offense has its own nickname, and it survived the test of time. They were the greatest show on turf, no doubt about it, or grass for that matter. But no, man, I get his desire. I respect it. He's a competitor, wants to get back in it. He wants to prove he can work with that young quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. He wants to prove he can turn around a franchise like Cleveland. But I just think there are too many other guys out there right now, too many younger guys, too many guys who probably have earned that opportunity for their first-time head coaching position. I wouldn't turn my nose if they had hired him over Monken, but I would have been surprised. I think he'll have a hard time. He may be a UFL guy, Scott. You may see Mike Martz in the UFL.
Well, we've done it. Let's go to the chat room. Sign Josh Gordon. He'll light it up. Yeah, I think he would. Why not? I mean, Josh Gordon, his only problem was what he did off the field. When he was on the field, he's a multi-talented player, but he couldn't get his act straight. But good. Thanks, Raul. Appreciate the comment. So as far as I'm concerned, the Detroit Lions had a Black Monday when they let Mike Martz go, when Rod Marinelli made the boneheaded move. And what do you think ends up happening? They go 1-16 the following year. Browns need to sign Cody Kessler. Trust me on this one. Yeah. Well, hey, what's interesting thought. I guess he's a long-time Browns guy. I appreciate where Raul's coming from. This is supposed to be a fun topic anyways, and Raul will do it as adding some more humor to it, and we appreciate that sort of feedback in the chat room. Cody Kessler, yeah, they had him in there, all 9 million of the quarterbacks that have come back. So, I don't know. I mean, Mike Martz, to me, is a great offensive mind. He really is. But Todd Monken, they brought him in there with the intent to try to get offense going. That's why Jim Schwartz wasn't hired. I think that Jim Schwartz is going to land at someplace. I would have liked to have seen Schwartz second chance, understand the Monken hire, but why not with Mike Martz? That's why I decided to go out there and have some fun with it as we satirize the Cleveland coaching search. Because think about the people that did not want to go there. Mike McDaniel didn't want to go there, right? He was one of them. Grant Udinski of Jacksonville, I think, pulled out of it as well. Jesse Mentor, and the list goes on. Those are the ones that are off the top of my head. So,
listen, for these organizations to be successful, there has to be real alignment. And what you see in Cleveland is dysfunction. You know, the owner, the GM, the head coach, starting quarterback. There's a certain consistency of leadership, you know, down the line, and just understanding. And if I'm a head coach or I'm a star player, I mean, I'm just looking at the head coaches. I'm looking at the owner. I'm looking at the GM strange a little bit, and I see dysfunction and horrible decision after horrible decision. And I don't want to be the next horrible decision, you know. So, you know, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot, Scott.
Well, it sets your coaching career back. Jimmy Haslam, I still think, is the worst owner in pro sports. I really do. He really. Once upon a time, we all thought Donald Sterling was bad. Jimmy Haslam was right there, too. Formerly the Clippers. Okay, well, let's say one thing. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. Not expected to return to the Steelers. Or maybe now is he? Because they hired Mike McCarthy. I'll tell you, he'd certainly love playing for Mike Tomlin, though. What are your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers? Will he or will he not?
You know, Aaron's been through a lot the last 3 years. Made a lot of money, especially with my team, the New York Jets. But no, he's it's been a lot emotionally with the injury and then going to Pittsburgh and then, you know, obviously not winning the playoff game. And they had their ups and downs this year, the Steelers did. So it's been a lot on this guy toward the end of one of the greatest careers of all time, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. It wouldn't shock me for him to strike up the band and come on back one more year just because of the relationship that he had. You know, I think both coach and player have matured, moved on a little bit from whatever differences they may have had. At least you hope so. You see a much more mature Aaron Rodgers. He's showing a lot of gratitude toward Mike Tomlin. And while I don't think everything in Green Bay was on him, you know, he was a part of it. So people grow up and mature. I'm sure there's a different appreciation now for each other. It wouldn't shock me if they ran it back with McCarthy. It would not shock me if Aaron Rodgers said, I'll do it with Mike. You know, he knows this dude. There's a relationship. Mike will have a certain respect for him. So yeah, man. But then again, you know, the body can only take so many hits. The human body wasn't made for football, you know? So This is something that I'll be watching as a football fan. I'll be watching this. And listen, I like a good football Hollywood story. I want to see Aaron Rodgers back in the NFL with McCarthy.
Yeah, well, me too. And he was a good fit in Pittsburgh. He really was. No drama there. He just simply played football. I mean, after he left the Jets, that situation is bad for him. If you're going to come back and play for an organization, you do it with the Steelers. No drama. You're focusing on the play. I think they'd like him there not only for Mike McCarthy, but hopefully he knows he'll groom another quarterback and doesn't mind because he walks into a situation knowing that's what's expected of him. And why not have one more last around with the coach he had at West, let alone won a Super Bowl with? I'm definitely pulling for this thing to happen again. Final topic as well. This is Scott Morganroth, Motor City Mad Mouth. You look at the Motor City Mad Mouth and Mike and Marvin on the Mic show, presented by the South Florida Tribune. Thankful to have Raul Havana in the chat room help joining in on us as well. Katie Ebling is producing in the background. And, of course, after the show, we got the Sports Exchange. Myself and Marvin will be joined by a few other people, and we'll continue to talk sports on the network. Final topic, the Steelers have not won a playoff game since 27. Pittsburgh's 23-game Monday night football win streak is now over, that streak dated back to 1992 with their last loss, and we know that Mike Tomlin's out. So obviously the Steelers are out quick, and those streaks went away, and that's why we're talking about the little bit. So what are your thoughts about the run they had on Monday Night Football? That's a long time. A lot of millennials were even born in 1992, the last time they had lost a game on Monday Night Football.
Man, 1992, I was a sophomore in high school. I'm gonna be 50 years old this year, man. That was a long time ago. You know, listen, the Steelers have had their ups and downs, man. But you know, when they're up, man, this is an elite program, elite organization, one that's really been aligned, have great alignment. You see, they've only had 3 head coaches, in the whole, well, not 4 the whole time in our organization, going back to the 60s. That's a big deal, man. That level of consistency. It speaks to maturity and leadership, and it trickles down, and you see the results on the field. Listen, Monday Night Football is a big deal. It's different than Sunday football. It is. The players know it. It's the last game of the week. The whole world is watching. Everybody who likes to gamble is watching.
Yeah, it is.
The Steelers have a huge following. I mean, it's always a big deal. So huge. So yeah, I think it's a huge accomplishment. And you don't see a lot. That's something you don't see all the time. So yeah, kudos to Tomlin, kudos to Rooney, kudos to what a first-class elite organization looks like. And that level of consistency just speaks to the greatness that is attached to the Steelers organization.
Oh, no question about it. Well, I mean, let's face it, you're on in prime time and you perform well for so long. So I think Pittsburgh Steelers fans have a lot to look forward to in 2026. They'll have, obviously, Mike Tomlin will take some time off. 19 winning seasons in a row isn't anything to feel too bad about either. He had a good run there, and he's won a Super Bowl like the other ones have. And I'm glad that Mike McCarthy does get to go ahead and coach in his hometown. I mean, a Pittsburgh boy coming home, not the worst thing on the planet. So we're going to bring in Candy Ebling. Some thoughts about, and she's going to give some thoughts about Rodgers maybe coming back, maybe with McCarthy, and then we'll wrap it up with a station break as we prepare for the Sports Exchange.
I think as far as Aaron goes, does he still have the competitive edge? Does he still want to be out there on the football field? Or, apparent from whatever we've heard is that he got married last off season. Does he want to ride off into the sunset and, is he done? I don't know. He's been very private. His private life is private. He wants to keep it that way. Will he come back and play for Mike McCarthy? I think they gave him like a 1 month deadline where they need to know,
right,
or they have to like draft and do other things. I think it completely depends on. Marvin has said so many times that your body wasn't made for football. So is his body still ready to take that beating, and does he still want to? I think that'll, let's face it, he's made millions. He doesn't need the money. So the question is, does he still have that competitive juice that he wants to be on the field? And who is he playing with? And that matters, because he wants to have fun. That at this point, that's what he wants. If he's going to play, it's because he wants to have fun. So do I see it? I would like to think that he would come back for one last year and that he could then go out and tell us ahead of time that, hey, this is my last year. You know what I mean? Like, instead of, and yes, everybody wants to go out on top. Who knows what Pittsburgh will do next year? But when it's all said and done, he's had an excellent career, Hall of Fame career, one of the best quarterbacks out there. Yes, he's not in the GOAT category that, Tom Brady is, but he is up there. Had he maybe won more Super Bowls, but so it'll be interesting to see what he decides to do.
Well, the reality is Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers were a productive coach quarterback tandem. Legacy. Mm-hmm. He didn't leave New York. Thankfully, the New York Jets wasn't his last stop. He was able to salvage that legacy in Pittsburgh. And you know what? I definitely think it's something that hopefully will happen. I think 30 days is enough, and I think Aaron knows that he's comfortable where he's at mentally. All right. That does it for this edition of the Motor City Madmouth and Marvin and the Mike show. But Marvin, let everybody know how to get a hold of you. Candy will take us home with a station break, and we'll be back around the top of the hour for the Sports Exchange. Go ahead, Marvin, let everybody know they get a hold of you.
Yeah, Marvin Powell III. Marvin on the mic is my handle. You can catch me. I got 5 shows a week going here with the South Florida Tribune, and you can catch me twice a week with Locked On USC. I'm having a great time.
All right, Candy, take us the rest of the way.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40 plus years in the media business and how it has evolved and changed. Old school media meets new school media. It's a great book for anybody that's looking to get into the business, anybody that wants to read a bunch of stories. You know, Scott's interviewed people like Muhammad Ali, Tommy Lasorda, you name it, all the different genres, different he's worked with different media personnel. You've got to go get the book. Check it out. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. It's also available in audio version if you'd like the audio version. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to buy that book, you can also get it. There's a link on our website. Go check out our website. It's www.southfloridatribune.com. We have a lot. We have writers. We have all kinds of great media partners that send us content. So go check out our website as well. Last but not least, if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family. Anytime you think you like the programming, you got to check us out. But then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. We do shows 5 days a week. Monday night, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights, you just never know what we're going to be talking about. Scott's got all kinds of things up his bag of trick, whether it be on this show or whether it be on Sports Exchange. And then Thursday nights, sometimes he does sports rap, so watch for that programming. And then you can always come over to the country club on Thursday nights and watch Fire Up, which I lead that show. And then Saturday mornings, if you want to see a duel and have fun, it's a USC Trojan against a UCLA Bruin. You got to tune in and find out. And then sometimes we do a little baseball, especially now that baseball is going to start wrapping up. So make sure your notifications are turned on so you're notified every time we go live. Back to you, Scott.
Well done, Candy. I couldn't have done that any better myself, Marvin. Well,
Candy,
tell you what, there's a reason why Candy she's an MVP, most valuable player, person, and all. She's a jack of all trades. Anyways, that does it for this edition of our show, Motor City Madmouth and Marvin on the mic. On behalf of Marvin Powell III, my name is Scott Morganroth, Motor City Madmouth, and Candy Ebeling. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you around 9 or so on the Sports Exchange. Take care, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, thanks again, Raul Havana, for participating in the chat room. See you shortly. Bye now.